So how about we start with PHP, Matthew? You can give us a little bit of information here on how PHP works in terms of that life cycle, the LTS. If you can mention some of the end of life versions, that would be good to have like everyone kind of. Let's use that as a first example, and we can use some other examples.
Sure. So PHP for a long time didn't have any formal policy around it. It was just whatever they would patch. But then around 8 or 9 years ago, they have this RFC process that actually got adopted around the same time. And with that process, they said, hey, we're not going to introduce new features unless they've been vetted by the community. But on the top of that, we're going to adopt an actual formal life cycle for the project. And the way it works is that a version gets released. When I say a version, it's a minor version. That includes new major versions. So 8.0 is a major version and a new minor version at the same time. But those minor versions have a release cycle of 3 years. They get 2 years of active support where they're getting bug fixes and security patches. And then an additional year after that where they get only security patches. So that means that if a new release is done in November of 2016, then in November of 2019, it has reached end of life within the PHP community and it will no longer receive patches. So it's very nice. It's very predictable. We know that every year there's a new minor release, whether it's a minor or a new major, but there's a new minor release that happens every year, right around November or December, depending on how the release schedule pans out in the end. And that release will get 3 years of support, which is fantastic. Now, a lot of our customers and a lot of people on this call probably look at here 3 years and go, that's not very long. And it's not. And so what we find is a lot of people are on applications that they can't actually update on that regular cadence of 1 to 3 years. And so what happens is at a certain point, the PHP version that they pinned against goes end of life. And now they're stuck and they're like, what do we do here? Because what if security patches are released for those new current versions? How do we make sure that we're secure here? So that's when you have to go to other sources. Most operating systems, Linux operating systems in particular, they will have, for part of their LTS commitment for the operating system, is that all of the packages that they have in there, they will do backported security patches. That said, on Linux operating systems, you usually have exactly one PHP version. So that means whatever version that is, that's what you're stuck on. An example of that is 2004, if I remember correctly, it has PHP 7.4. No, 2004 had PHP 7.4, so Ubuntu 2004. What's great about that is, you can just keep using 2004 until it goes end of life. But the problem is then when it does, and you want to upgrade to that next version of the operating system, you're also stuck upgrading to a new version of PHP, and it's likely many different versions. So now you have a problem where you have to go not only upgrade the operating system, you have the additional risk of updating your application. Each time there's a new release, there's deprecations for whatever the next major is going to be. And then if there's a new major, then those deprecations are just removed. And so there's lots of little pieces that can cause problems and risk as you do those upgrades. So that's what we look at. And that's part of the reason Zend exists, is that we do LTS that gives you additional lifetime beyond what the community provides.